All right. Boom. We're live. All right. Welcome, everybody. Stand by. The attendees list keeps growing and growing and growing. I got my man Nick here. We're out to blind you guys with science. But before we start melting your face off with amazing mindset stuff here, I'm going to do a little something. I'm going to do a little something fun for you guys. So before we get this going, what I want you guys to do, for those of you that are watching and just tuning in, I want you to take a minute. I want you guys to take a deep breath. I want you to, if you have a phone in your hand, I want you to put it down unless you're watching on this. If you have other tabs open, I want you to shut them down. And I just want you to clear your mind and just get ready for what we're going to talk about tonight. And I think what we're going to give you our absolute best to elevate your game and get you guys ready to really start kicking ass in your business. So sit back and just listen and take it in.
So you have to trust that God's will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in somehow. God, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the gods will connect down the road give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off a well-known path. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become.
But you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. Most people give up on themselves easily. You know the human spirit is powerful. There's nothing as powerful. It's hard to kill the human spirit. Anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills to pay, they have happy relationships. Anybody can be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. The real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. It takes courage to act. Part of being hungry when you've been defeated, it takes courage to start over again. Fear kills dreams. Fear kills hope. Fear put people in the hospital. Fear can aid you, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you're capable of doing, but it will paralyze you.
At the end of your feelings is nothing, but at the end of every principle is a promise. Behind your little feelings, it might not be absolutely nothing at the end of your little feelings, but behind every principle is a promise. And some of you in your life, the reason why you're not at your goal right now, because you just all about your feelings. You all on your feelings. You don't feel like waking up. So who does? Every day you say no to your dreams, you might be pushing your dreams back a whole 6 months, a whole year. That one single day, that one day you didn't get up could have pushed your stuff back, I don't know how long.
Don't allow your emotions to control you. We are emotional, but you want to begin to discipline your emotion. If you don't discipline and contain your emotions, they will use you. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious. You go all out. I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back. And I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. Take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. Live your life with passion, with some drive. Decide that you're going to push yourself. The last chapter to your life has not been written yet. And it doesn't matter about what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it? This year, I will make this goal become a reality. I won't talk about it anymore. I can. I can. I can.
To persevere, I think it's important for everybody. Don't give up. Don't give in. There's always an answer to everything.
All right. So some of the feedback I was getting that was coming in a little glitchy. So sorry about that if that was too glitchy for you, but I was trying to get you guys motivated and fired up for this. Anyway, Daniel Kump here. I got my man Nick on the other end over there. So real quick, just I see we got a whole ton of people on here. Just give us a quick name and where you're from. Throw it over in the chat box there, and we'll get this going. So just to get this started, like I said before, my name is Daniel Kump. I've been, well, let's see, I'm 39 years old. I've been in and around network marketing for the last 15 years. And I've had, moderate success here and there. And I really kind of got back into it. I fell out of the game for a little while, only just because life happened. You have a kid, you get married, you guys know how it goes. And back in December, my wife got sponsored into a network marketing opportunity from her cousin, and my wife started getting pretty fired up. And then, she sponsored a person or two, and then I started to see that she was getting real excited. And what that started to do is that kind of rekindled, that started rekindling my excitement for it. I first got introduced back when I was 24 years old, and I really took a run at it. And I even had lunches and dinners with people that were making $40,000 a month, $300,000 a month. And I always had the vision. The vision never left. It never went away. And so in January, my wife said, all right, I'm going to sign you up. And then we started running at it. And, probably for 2 months, we made a pretty good go. She ranked up. She got like $1,000 bonus. I made a few $100s. She made a few $100s a month. It was going pretty good. And then, what's up, Bill from Rhode Island, Martha from New York? How you guys doing? So what happened there is once you guys know the typical network marketing story, in the first 90 days, you make your hundreds list, and then you call all your friends and family. You try and get as many appointments, presentations, talk to as many people as you can. And I ended up kind of burning myself out. I kind of pissed through my hundreds list, and I found myself getting into the cold market. And I literally ordered, a few sleeves of business cards, and I went to a local mall, which is, I'm in Derry, New Hampshire, and the Manchester Mall is the mall of New Hampshire is 5 minutes from here. I found myself literally in there several times a week, walking around the mall, trying to pass out business cards, trying to, give complete strangers, an all access pass to my business. And they didn't want to have anything to do with it, but I was willing to do whatever it took to support my family because really because of my why. And as we get further into this webinar tonight, we're going to talk about your why and why you're in this business, why you're logged on to this webinar, and why you're doing what you do in order to get the results that you want. And we're going to dive deep into that tonight. So what happened for me was, once I was into the cold market, I started going on YouTube. I started doing some research, and I found this dude that, many of us know, name's Nick Anderson. And I started subscribing to his YouTube channel and watching a lot of his videos. And although I wasn't sponsored into anything with him, I found him to be very, very helpful. And a lot of his videos were, very tutorial. He went into a lot of detail and really described things in a way that I think just resonated with me. And I decided to get into, one specific opportunity with him. And then, come July, he kind of messaged me and said, hey, there's this new thing that I've been looking into for a little while. I'm going to get into it. And he told me about it. And then after I checked out that opportunity, back specifically on July 15th, I made a decision. I made a decision to stop dipping my toes in the water and really start going for it, and just to go all in. I made a commitment to myself first. And then I told my wife, and I said, enough. Because of my son and the special challenges that he has. For those that don't know, he's almost 3. He'll be 3 years old in January 25th. And he can't crawl, he can't walk, he can't talk, he can't eat on his own. We feed him through a tube in his stomach. And, aside from, the major stuff I just told you, he's in great spirits. I mean, he can watch his Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. He loves to watch that. And he laughs, he giggles, he has a good time. And he's just got a great demeanor and a great attitude. But the one thing that we don't know is, where's that going to take us in life? And all I know is my why. Okay. My why is that all I know is our family is never going to have to worry about money. So if we need to put an addition on the house, if we need to buy a vehicle to get them around, when we travel, if we have to take equipment with us, we are never going to have to worry about money. Because that is my why, and I do everything for my family. And I want you guys to think about your why. And we'll get into this further and deeper as we go along. But think about this. If your why doesn't make you cry when you really sit and think about it, then I want you to get another why. Okay? So think about that. So as I made that commitment to myself on July 15th, I started going all in. Amazing things literally in the last few months have started to happen. I had 0 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Now I have 250 plus. And, I'm not a beast. I'm not blowing it out of the water, but I made the commitment to start. Okay. And, I had 0 subscribers on my email marketing software. Now I have almost 6,000. And I had never really had a month where I had made more than a few $100s in a month. And just a few weeks ago, I had a 4-figure day. I made over, $3,000 in one day. So you know what, guys? If I can do it, you can do it. And one of the people that really helped me get there and really helped me see that vision and really, was kind of a mentor to me was Nick. So, Nick, I want to pass it over to you. And why don't you just kind of give yourself a little introduction, and then we'll dive into this.
I think what you said was really powerful, man. A few things I want to touch on too. We all start in a business, and whether that be network marketing, real estate, people start their music career, they start their own clothing company, whatever it is that you're passionate about, you have a belief that a lifestyle that you see other people living is possible for you too. And that's what hooked me. And I know that hooked you, Dan, but at the same time, when you said your why, I that really hit home with me, because everyone has a why. What's motivating them, what's pushing them to really make this work, whether that be their family, whether that be their future family, and the majority of people that I see inside of this industry, they do it to, provide a better future for their family, so they never have to worry about money again, because money is a big stress in people's lives, and it can be frustrating because, you see people out there that, have a lot of money and they're living nice, they got whatever, nice house, nice car, the material things, but also they have inner peace and happiness, which I believe is true success, and a lot of people out there, they strive for the money, but they join a business, they get excited on it, and then they start doing everything they can possibly do to try and make it work. They start doing cold calls, Some people might even go door to door if they're that hardcore and, you know, they love getting the door slammed in their face. For me, you know, I couldn't picture myself doing that, you know, so respect to the people out there that do door to door, but at the same time, you're willing to do whatever it takes. And your why is what's motivating you on a daily basis. So when I got started, you know, I had a big why, and my drive was pretty much to, you know, provide a better future for my future family as well as my current family, because I saw my parents, you know, growing up, they were working nonstop, you know, they were putting food on the table for us. They were taking us on trips, on vacations and everything. And I kind of took it for granted when I was younger. And, you know, I didn't realize that how fortunate we really were as kids growing up. And so, you know, when I start to look back on it now, it makes me really grateful that I was able to experience that, because, you know, that's what I want to give to my family, my future family, and take them on trips and never have to have them worry about money again. Because when you see people out there that stress on money, it causes so many problems in your life. It causes not only problems outside, but it causes problems inside. You know, I've seen people that have become sick over stress in their lives. All that stress builds up in their body and it creates cancer, and it literally like takes people's lives because of that, you guys. So, you know, I'm not going to go off on some crazy tangent about that, but most of you have heard, you know, my story before. You know, you've heard where I've came from, and you know, I just kind of want to give you guys a perspective on like what's happened over the past 4 years. And throughout this webinar, Dan and I are going to break down some philosophies that you guys can take and you can apply into your business to get the results that you're after. So I want to promise you, okay, by the end of this, you know, we're not going to pitch you our company. We're not going to pitch you our business. If you guys want to know what we do, then you can just message us after this. Okay. This webinar is purely just going to be value. Okay. We're going to be giving you guys some information that has helped transform not only our lives, but the lives of hundreds and even thousands of people out there, you guys, who we've influenced through our whole network. Okay. So, I mean, with my background, you guys, I got started in 2012 in a network marketing company, you know, very similar to Dan. You know, I was hyped up, got the dream. You know, went out there and handed out business cards to people in grocery stores, the whole 9 yards. And, you know, it worked, but it didn't work as well as I wanted it to work. So I can't hate on those strategies because they definitely work. You know, offline marketing, it works. It's been proven to work. When Amway started in the 1940s or 50s, and they started growing, they didn't have the internet. They didn't have Facebook. They didn't have social media. They didn't have all these platforms that they could use to effectively grow their business. They didn't have smartphones. You know, think about it, like 50, 60 years ago, you know, what was it? They didn't have like flip phones, you know? So it's pretty crazy how far technology has come over the years. But at the same time, it's like the fundamentals is what I want you guys to focus on, okay? Because when we start and people start in their business and they start going out there sharing a concept and idea with people, whether it be offline or online, it's all the principles behind the strategy that's making it work. So a lot of people hop on, you know, webinars like this, or, you know, they plug into businesses and they think that it is the strategies that makes people successful. When in reality, you know, I want to ask you guys this real quick. Okay, what do you think separates the top producers in the network marketing industry or any industry in general and the average Joes, the people that never make any money, that end up quitting, that ended up, you know, just dropping out and never doing anything with their business, okay? What do you think separates them? And drop a comment below. Do you think it's A, how much money they make, how much money they have? Do you think it's B, you know, who their upline, their sponsor was in the business? Do you think maybe C, it's their amount of work they put into the business, how hard they're actually working on it, their work ethic, their hustle? Or is it D, their mindset towards success and failure, okay, and how they perceive everything? What do you think it is? I want to hear your guys' feedback. And as we start going through this webinar, you guys are going to kind of pick up on what it is and how you can take it and apply into your business, okay? So, Dan, I mean, I just want to pass it back to you, man. You know, I'm sure everyone, you know, out there can get some value from what you have to say in this. And, you know, I've learned a lot from you over the past few months of just working with you, man. I just want to say how grateful I am to have you, you know, on the team. It was great to meet you in Vegas as well, and get to hang out with you and really hear your whole story, your background, and, you know, why you're doing this as well, because that really drives and that motivates me to keep putting the work, to keep grinding, to keep putting in the effort as well. So I just want to say I appreciate you, man. I got my notebook here. I encourage you guys as well, if you don't have, you know, a notebook and a pen to take some notes, and grab that right now, because Dan is about to melt your face off right now with knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you guys, and I took this out of Nick's book because he has this little black book of secrets. So I kind of got my own little black book of secrets too. But I think, you know, just in regards to that too, I mean, we don't really want to have a lot of secrets. And I think one of the things that has helped me, you know, find the success that I have in the last few months is literally just by giving away value. And I mean, Nick, I mean, I learned a lot of that from you, because you've based, you know, your entire I guess you could call it online marketing career or success on giving away value. And I learned that from you. And I hope you guys that are watching are learning this too. So, hey, Lance, do me a favor, guys. And I want to say this once. I don't want to have to give anyone an all access pass to the block party, but don't put links in the chat box, because the last thing we want to do, guys, is we don't want people clicking off while we're kind of talking and doing our thing here. We want people to be able to focus and take notes and get some value out of this and not get distracted by what's going on over in the chat box. Cool. All right, rock. All right, so I guess we'll start with goals. And I know for me, I have a goal, and my ultimate goal is my family and never having to worry about money. So before I could just say I make a lot of money, and I'll start this off with, since I've been giving away a lot of value, and I told you guys I really made that commitment back in July, and I've really started pouring on making the YouTube videos and trying to give away as much value as I can, whether it be about my primary business or whether it be about just simple stuff that a lot of people just sometimes struggle with or have a hard time with, like how to make an iMovie, how to set up your email marketing, how to rank your videos on YouTube, how to blow up your Instagram business, stuff that doesn't necessarily pertain to your primary business, but really just sharing with people what you have. And since I've been doing that, I've had a lot of people reach out to me. I get messages every single day. Every single morning when I wake up, I have tons and tons of messages on my phone and Facebook Messenger or email, where people either are looking for more information or they're interested in joining the business. And this is a little tip too. So guys, if you have a pen or you're taking notes, then listen to this right here. So if somebody reaches out to you and they say, hey, I'm interested in what you do, I'm interested in getting started, tell me more about your business. What I want you to think about and how I want you guys to interact with folks is you almost want to qualify them. You want to pre-qualify them before you let them into your business, almost like a job interview. Okay. And just about all of us have been on a job interview before. So, literally for the last 3 hours before this webinar, I've been going back and forth with probably 6 or 7 people that have messaged me on my Facebook fan page, because that's where I do a lot of advertising, which we'll get into in a whole nother webinar. But, people basically, they start off by replying to one of my ads and they say, info, I want info. And I start asking some basic, simple questions. Well, did you watch the video that was attached to, the ad there? But I don't just say, here's all my information, do you want to sign up? I'll start qualifying them, and I ask them some very basic questions. But one of the specific questions that I do ask them is, how much money are you making now? And how much money do you want to make? If you could make, any income, how much money are you looking to make? What would be your ideal income per month? And a lot of times people reply back and they say a lot. That doesn't help them, and that doesn't, that's not defining a goal. And right now we're going to talk about goals. So, for you guys, and I'll even, spin it back. I'll say, yeah, we all want a lot of money, but ideally, how much do you need and how much would you like? And I make them give me a figure before I go any further in the conversation. So as you guys are, talking to potential leads and potential people that you're going to bring into your business, I don't want to say like make them work for it a little bit, but you may want to do that. So when it comes to having a goal, the more specific you can be, the more you can narrow down your focus, the better off you're going to be. And for me, my goal was to be obviously financially free, but at the same point, I had to actually give myself a figure of what I wanted per month, obviously to be able to pay the bills, to be able to do all that stuff, but also have a nest egg and have, some freedom, the freedom to travel, the freedom to do what we want, when we want, with who we want, where we want. And that's the true definition of success. So what is that figure? For me, it's $45,000 a month. And that's what I'm working towards right now. And I'm going to give you guys an example. Okay. We're going to go over to, my dry erase board right here. Okay. Nick, is the page frozen? I guess a couple of people are commenting that it's frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I was muted for a second, but yeah, it's working for me. So,
oh, all right, cool. So I just want to show you guys, and this is what we're going to talk about when it comes down to specifics. Okay. So what we have here is that's my income goal is 45,000 per month. Okay. But I could just go out there and I can grind. I can come in here. I can do webinars. I can crank out videos. But what is going to get me specifically to $45,000 a month? And I literally broke it all down. Okay. Finite. So I need at least 100 leads per day. I need 5 to 10 new sales per day, and so on and so forth. And I broke down the specific types of sales I need, which is related to my primary business. Now, I want you guys to think about whatever your goal is, all right? However much you need to define how you're going to get there and what it's going to take. And if you guys are fans of Gary Vaynerchuk, hopefully you are. He has a lot of great books. He has a lot of great webinars out there, videos on YouTube, and he specifically talks about being able to reverse engineer things. You know what your end goal is, and reverse it all the way back to something. Picture a funnel. You can funnel it all the way down to something that you can take action on right now, that you can start chipping away at what it's going to take to get you to that goal. But specifically, you have to be crystal clear. And even when I was going through some of the training steps of my primary business, and I had to create a vision board, and I was working with one of my coaches, and I'll try not to go off on too many tangents here, guys, because I want to stick to the structure and I want to stick to stuff that's going to give you guys value. But when we were creating the vision board, my wife and I have always, I'm looking up at my vision board here, so I don't know if you guys can. There's some of it right there, and unfortunately it's not 100% complete. So. But at the same point, I also bought a big ass fucking board. I should have bought a smaller board, but I bought a really big board. There's lots of things to do on there. But, my wife and I have always wanted, a custom made log cabin, because we love nature. We love being out in the woods. We want to be in a log cabin. We want to be in the mountains and, be on a lake in the mountains in a log cabin. And as I was telling my coach that, and he's like, cool. Where do you want to live? What town? And I was like, well, I'm not sure. He's like, why not? Be specific. He's like, how much is it going to cost to build your cabin? I was like, man, it's probably going to cost a few $100,000. He's like, how much? I don't know. He's like, find out and let me know tomorrow. And, just to get to that preciseness of, if you have a goal, like you want to be able to throw the dart and hit the bullseye on exactly what your goal is, and knowing specifically down to the last drop of what you're reaching for. Because honestly, guys, if you don't pinpoint your goals, if you don't write them down, and you're not staring at them every day you're just going to be out there and you're just going to be reaching and reaching, but you're never going to grab onto what you want because it's not finite enough to be tangible. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. And, you understand that how important goals actually are. So when you have your goal, be specific, write it down, keep it in your notebook, recite your goals every day too. I mean, I'm big into affirmations, and, that could be an entirely different topic too, and not in a corny way, but, in a very specific, precise way that I talk about every day. So, Nick, I don't know if you want to, chime in on having goals yourself. I know you're big into the vision board, and obviously you have specific goals as well. I just need to take a sip of my tea here.
Definitely had to unmute myself real quick. Yeah, no, goals are extremely, extremely important. I would show you guys my vision board, but I'm just like chilling in the kitchen right now. If I walked upstairs, my connection would probably shut off. So it's better Wi-Fi down here. But goals, think of it like this, okay? Taking action without having a goal is like playing darts without having a board, blindfolded. Okay. So you're pretty much throwing your darts out there, hoping that they land somewhere. And if you don't get super specific on what you want, your energy and your efforts are going to end up wherever they land. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Well, to put it simply, you're just going to end up wherever the ocean takes you, right? Like Jim Rohn says, you know, if you don't set a sail, right, and you're just drifting in a boat, you're going to end up shipwrecked on some deserted island. Now, if you have an island of financial, you know, paradise that you set out for yourself in your mind and you're setting sail towards it, then what usually happens is, you know, you'll hit some obstacles along the way, but your goal is what's going to give you a checkpoint to where you're going. It's like hopping into a car and you have a GPS, right? If you don't have a GPS and you're just like, I'm just going to drive on the road until I get there. It's like, get where? Where are you driving to? I don't know. I'm just going to end up wherever the wind takes me. You know, some people, you know, they do that and they end up in a cool location, but most people, they end up like no gas, like tired, exhausted on the side of the freeway in the middle of the desert. And they're just like, please, someone save me. And that's what happens to most people in their business. Okay. They're like, please, someone save me. I need help. When you literally create whatever, not only lifestyle you want, but you create the direct path and the way that you're going to get there. Now, obviously you can't see the whole road. So for example, if you're going to drive from New York to California at night, your headlights can only light up, 200, 300 feet in front of you, right? So how do you even know that there's not going to be a drop off at the end of the road? Because, you know, someone's driven it before, so someone's done it before. So you're following roads that people have paved and people have been on before, but also you trust that the next 200 and 300 feet are going to unfold. And also you have a GPS that shows you the way there. So no matter if you're driving it in the night, it'll still take you there. Okay. So your goal is pretty much the exact same thing.
Awesome. So I think one of the most important things that I know for me, and I don't know, I can't really speak for everybody, but one of the things that has allowed me to have the success that I've had in the last few months, and I've literally made more in the last few months than I've made in the last 15 years in network marketing. So real quick, Rafaela says it's frozen. Anyone else seeing that it's frozen? Just throw a comment in the box, or if it's fine, just put fine. But I know I can see Nick and my connection's good here. So I think we're good. Anybody else? All right, cool. Fine. All right, Justin. Cool. Thanks, dude. Dustin's good.
I can't see comments. Are you looking on the YouTube page for it?
No, I'm in Hangout and I have a chat box over here. Everyone else seems like they're pretty cool, so I'm good.
All right,
All right, we're good. All right. Anyway, back to the subject. So for me, like I said, I've had more success in the last few months than I have in my entire MLM network marketing career, and I think that one of the things that allowed me to do that is one specific thing, and so many people underestimate this one specific thing, and I think a lot of people take it for granted, and they don't. You guys have all seen the people. We've probably experienced some of this ourselves. I know I've experienced this myself too, is, when you first start an opportunity and then, you get to a certain point and it's not working, and you either run out of your warm market and you get into the cold market, or you just get to the point where, you're not making any money and, it's not working for you. And then you decide to quit, or, you find an excuse, right? So the one thing that has allowed me to get to the point that I am is I actually made a decision. And I know that sounds, it might sound corny, it might sound cheesy, it might sound whatever, but the fact that if you haven't truly decided on this business, like if you've gotten to the point when, you've just haven't had the results that you wanted, then, you have to circle back and you have to question, did I actually commit to go all in? And, I'll give you guys an example here. So, back in July, I made the commitment to go all in, and that commitment was not just a commitment to go all in, from a tactical standpoint, okay? Learning how to rank YouTube videos, learning how to blow up Instagram, learning how to recruit, learning how to create sales funnels. That's all the physical, tactical stuff. But one of the biggest things was the mental piece of actually deciding, okay? And, sorry. So when I made the actual commitment back on July 15th to go for it, I also had to make a financial decision. And what I needed to do to go all in with this business, I didn't have the money for it at the time. But once I decided, I found a way to get the money, okay? And I was able to do that through, applying for an LLC. I made myself an actual, licensed limited liability company, an actual business. I applied for a business loan. I got the loan I needed. I went all into the business, and then, so on and so forth. And that first month, okay, I decided to go all in. And that first month, I bought into a lot of advertising, a lot of traffic that was going to go into and fund my business, and then obviously build my list and build my business. And, for the first 6 weeks, it looked like everything was going killer. It looked like everything was going great. And a lot of that traffic didn't really, a lot of people that I brought into the business that I signed up, a lot of those people didn't really turn out to do much of anything. They just kind of signed up, probably thought it was a get rich quick scheme. And once they probably realized that, they couldn't just buy the winning lottery ticket, sit back and collect checks every day, they decided to bail out and quit. So I invested literally, thousands of dollars that I didn't have into this business. Now, 2 months in, I could have thrown in the towel. I could have said, you know what, I tried, it didn't work. I bought a bunch of traffic. The traffic didn't work. I could have blamed the traffic. I could have said the traffic sucked. What a shitty traffic source that was. I could have found so many excuses as to why it didn't work. But the reason why I'm on this webinar right now talking to you guys, the reason why, I just made $2,500 yesterday, okay? Another 4-figure day. The reason why is because I made a decision. I decided that this was going to work. No matter what, this was going to work. So when that traffic source didn't work, when I, lost several $1,000s, I found another path. I found another road, another way to get there. Okay. So once you decide and you make that commitment to yourself, nothing is going to stop you. Nothing is going to stop you. So, whether it be traffic, whether it be advertising, whether it be, you guys have heard the phrase that you fail your way to success, right? And that's exactly, the path that I'm on right now. And yeah, there's been stumbling blocks, but, I could tell you guys right now that goal that I showed you, that $45,000 a month. And, obviously once I get there, I'm going to create another goal. And once I reach that goal, I'm going to create another goal. It's never going to stop. I'm going to constantly scale, but I'm going to tell you one thing, I'm going to hit that fucking goal, and nothing is going to stop me because I made the decision to myself first. And then I made the decision with my family. And then that's it. So deciding is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And I hope you guys get that. I hope you guys really realize that, because until you've actually decided and made the ultimate commitment, then it's tough to get to the level that you want. So, Nick, I don't know if you have anything on that piece there, but
I think you hit the nail on the head with that one.
That was one of the most important things for me, and that allowed me to finally, I've used this kind of analogy a lot, but I stopped dipping my toes in the water. I stopped saying, oh, let me try this, see if it works. Let me try this, see if it works. And you know what? I know I said you could go, but I'm gonna go again here. So I'll use this example because this is a real life situation too. I got a few people that I'm friends with on Facebook, and some of those folks are in other opportunities. Thanks, Dennis. Some of those people are in other opportunities, and I went through the Facebook feed one day, and I was messaging this person back and forth, and they were saying like, oh, I'm going through, you guys have heard this before, information overwhelm, because there's a lot of stuff out there, guys. There's a lot of opportunities. You have your primary business, you have affiliate marketing, you have all kinds of affiliate offers out there. You have low entry point affiliate offers, you have big ticket, you have top tier marketing. There's a lot of stuff. Okay. There's really a lot of stuff out there. And it's so easy that when you start doing one thing and you start kind of chugging along and, you maybe invest a little money, you buy into their monthly auto ship, and then you're not getting the results you want, whether it be 30, 60, 90 days in. And then you see this other big shiny object over here. And it's like, well, I know I'm doing this, but let me try this out for a little while. And then you go try that out. And then it's like 30, 60, 90 days in. Oh, you know what? Let me go try this one. So we've all been there. We've all seen all these opportunities, especially if you're scrolling through the Facebook feeds or you're watching YouTube. It's so easy to get distracted by the big shiny objects. So this one person I was talking to, they're telling me about, I'm feeling information overwhelmed and I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I should just give up. And I'm like, dude, you are like one of the most motivative people. You read all the right books, you have the right mindset. And then as I'm having this conversation with them, I scroll through the newsbook feeds, and you guys have seen those, like people you may know, or you see those like groups, those groups of, whatever it is, like, let's just say there's like Easy One Up, and then there's Exodus, and then there's Digital Altitude, and then there's Online Sales Pro, and then like you see all these different groups online. So it was kind of funny because when you see these groups, you can see the like pictures of your mutual friends that are in that group. And this one person was in every single fucking group, like literally like 9 groups. I'm like, dude, no wonder why you're overwhelmed. I'm like, you're involved in like 19 opportunities. Scale it back, pick one, get really good at that one. Don't stop until you get some level of success, until you get to the point where you have consistent income coming in every single month. Then move on to that next opportunity. But oftentimes it's like people just dangle that carrot out there, and then we move on and we move on and we try all these different things and we get info overwhelm. And it could be detrimental. It can be really detrimental to your success. So Nick, anything on that?
Yeah, no, and I think I agree with you, Dennis. Shiny ball syndrome. People are like squirrels nowadays. They'll be in one company, and then all of a sudden they're like, new company, and then they just jump from company to company to company. And I was guilty of that too. So it's like, I can't hate on people. It's like I thought it was the company that was going to determine my success. I thought it was my upline. I thought it was my sponsor. I thought it was the comp plan. I thought it was the product. And at the same time, I realized that it was none of those things, but it was me. And once I changed me and I got laser focused and, did the things that we're going to teach you guys throughout the rest of this webinar, then was able to get results. Once I finally started, realizing that the inner potential, is the greatest thing ever and what you can do and, what you can accomplish. And then you help inspire other people to do the same thing. So.
Awesome. So with that decision, obviously comes kind of like, the next piece of the pie there is having a vision. And, I got my vision board here and let me take you through. We're going to give you guys some, I guess we'll call it some keys to the castle here. And, Nick very much inspired me and helped me with this part here. But I want you guys to realize something. Having a vision, once you make the decision, once you make the commitment to yourself, having a vision of specifically exactly what you want is going to be crucial to your success. And, so what I did is I actually took, I basically wrote down like my perfect day. And this ties into, you guys saw my goal on the dry erase board there, or if, you're coming on after this, you can, after the webinar is over, and go check that out. But I kind of wrote down like my perfect day. So I'll give you guys an example. And this is just an example. You guys can obviously, go back and rewind and watch this, but just, listen to the flow and listen to, how I describe my vision, and think about that in your own life and think about how you can incorporate that. And, we're going to try to keep this webinar filled with, golden nuggets of wisdom. We're having a flash sale on golden nuggets tonight. So think about this, okay? So I wrote down, who am I? And my birthday is May 25th, so rock on for all you Geminis out there. even though I'm drinking from my wife's Aquarius mug. All right, so it says May 25th, 2017. That's when I turned 40, and that's when I'm going to hit my specific goal, hopefully sooner. So it says I'm 40 years old and I'm no longer working for corporate America. I now earn an average of $45,000 a month. In exchange for this income, I'm providing the world with an immense amount of value through video marketing and coaching. My wife and I live in our beautiful home in Derry, New Hampshire, and get to travel as a family whenever and wherever we want. I'm in perfect health, and I invest my money and my time into my health, our family, and our business. I give thanks every day, and I read personal development books. I also listen to personal development audios. I am able to buy nice clothes, organic foods, and provide a level of comfort for my family that most families only dream of. I give back to those that are less fortunate. The relationship I have with my wife, my son, and my family is far greater than I ever imagined. My network and my net worth continues to grow month over month over month. I have an overwhelming rush of inner peace and positivity. I am sharing this with everyone I come in contact with. My perfect day consists of waking up with my family, having a simple breakfast, exercising, reading a great book, listening to empowering audios, breathing, focusing on my goals, seeing my team exponentially grow, get results, and develop. I enjoy getting out in the sun with my family, making videos for others to get inspired by. I visualize my future. I spend time every day with my family, experience gratitude, and give something of value to someone else. I can already feel what it's like to live this lifestyle, and I'm stepping into it right now. I read that every single day. Okay? So that for me is what it's like to have a vision. So not only do board, which is cool, I get to come in my office, I get to see it every day, but I read it out loud. I hear myself say the words. I see them on paper. And, you guys should know this at this point, but, when you guys write something down, you remember it better. But then when you write it down and then you read it back to yourself out loud, it has a much deeper, much bigger meaning. And for me, that's what having a vision is all about. So I got my vision board up here. I know the specifics of what we're looking at, what we want to do, where we want to be as a family, where I want to be as an individual, and the things that we want to be doing as far as, if you guys have, significant others, wives, spouses, whatever, I would ask them to do this exercise. So write this down. I would ask whoever, you spend the most time with, whether it be, like I said, a wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whoever, have them write down, don't just tell you, have them write down for you in a few sentences what the perfect day would be. And I want you to think about that for a second. So let's just say, clear your mind. You wake up, you have no boss, no alarm clock, nobody telling you what to do. You go to bed when you're tired. You wake up when you feel like it. When you roll out of bed, you put your pajamas, your slippers or whatever on, and you head, to your kitchen to, start your day. I want you to think about this. What would your perfect day look like? What would you do? And I want your partner or whoever it is to write that down, because you being able to look at that and see that on paper is also going to help you visualize how you're going to craft your vision and how you're going to set some goals up based on that perfect day. So I'm going to give you guys an example. I was listening to, I think I was watching a video about Ray Higdon. And for those that don't know Ray Higdon, he's a very influential network marketer, online marketer, probably 8-figure earner at this point. And he was talking to one of his students, and they're saying like, oh, I'm going to make this business work. I'm going to make it happen. And then, Ray asked them, he's like, well, how much are you going to make a month? And they're like, well, I'm going to make as much as I can. And he's like, okay, try again. How much are you going to make a month? They're like, well, a lot. He's like, where are you going to go for lunch on Tuesday? And they're like, he's like, you got to rethink what you're doing. So you can't just go out there and start fighting and punching and chipping and scraping and reaching when you don't know what you're reaching for. So I hope what we're talking about here, guys, is making sense. And I know for me, if I were to look back over the last 15 years when I just dipped my toes and I dabbled and I basically just fucked around with, network marketing and business, and I didn't really have a defined plan. And that's why I didn't have success. But now, I have my vision board. I have my goals written down. I have it broken down by month, by day, what it's going to take to get to the level that I need to. I have it, my perfect day written out. And I'm not saying you guys have to do everything I'm doing. I'm just saying that you guys need to make sure that your vision and your pathway is clear to what your goals are. Do you even have your goals written down? So you want to think about. So hope this guys is making sense with you, and I hope you guys are fired up just listening to some of this stuff, and you guys are getting ideas. So if you are fired up, if you do want to do whatever it takes, if you do want to make that decision, if you have made that decision, and nothing is going to stop you, and pardon my swearing, but I'm starting to get excited here, but if nothing is going to get the fuck in your way and you've made that decision to go for it, to do whatever it takes to make it happen for you in your life, then I want you guys to say fired up in that chat box. I want you to blow that up and say fired up, fired up, fired up. Because, we get fired up by giving you guys value and, sharing this stuff with you, because that's what, for me, that's what I love doing. I love being able to help people. And, when I get a message that somebody sends me that says, "Oh my God, I loved, I loved your video on YouTube. It really helped me out. It explained everything." Yeah, you guys are starting to put the comments in there. That's cool. That's what I love. That's what I know Nick loves that too. That's what we love doing is helping people out, man, and just giving that value away. And the more value you can give, Zig Ziglar has a very famous quote. He says, "You can have anything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want." And, that's kind of one of my missions, is being able to give back and give people value. So appreciate all the comments over there, guys. Thanks, man. Nick, can you see any comments on your end?
Yeah, I actually had to click off of YouTube, go on to the webinar, and exit out and go back in to see them all. So loving it, you guys. Fired up. Yeah, I seen all the fired ups there. It's just awesome, you guys. Once you get that passion, that burning desire inside of yourself, that's where it all starts, right? Most people, they join a business obviously because they see themselves, having, a better lifestyle with their family, being able to travel, but it's that burning desire inside that's really what's going to get you out of bed at like 4 a.m, 5 a.m, when you're first starting out in your business. Some days I'll sleep in a little later, sleep until noon sometimes, just because, when you learn how to automate and you learn how to kind of leverage your time and effort, like you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. unless you're crazy like ET and you like to wake up at 3 a.m. If that works for you, great. But at the same time, you guys, you have that burning desire, you have that passion and everything. You're crystal clear on what you want. That's the most important thing. Like Dan was saying, like I was saying with those examples, being in the boat, you're setting a sail, a better thinking. So kind of just going back to that question I asked you guys in the start, is it what separates the top producers from the people that don't produce? Is it how much money they make, who sponsor them into the business, how much work they put in, or their mindset? Well, it's actually kind of a trick question because it's C and D. Okay. So, it's the mindset as well as the action, but I want you guys to kind of, get this through your head, because when I first understood this is what really allowed me to scale past 10 grand per month in my business and then go past 20 grand. And I actually just checked my back office, like while we're going through this, and just past 40 grand the past 30 days, which I was like, I'm absolutely blown away. And it's humbling because it's like, when I was first starting out, I just wanted to get to that first 2 grand per month. If I could do that, man, I would be like living the dream. And what happened was, I had the right mindset, was reading books, Think and Grow Rich. Although I hated reading, I forced myself to do it until it became a habit. Listening to audios, listening to people like Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, the list goes on and on, T. Harv Eker, Eric Worre, all those guys, and getting myself that burning desire and that passion every morning. And then what happened was the actions that I took, got me to that point. And then once I achieved it, I was like, holy crap, this feels good for a while. Then all of a sudden, like Dan was saying, you hit that next goal, right? So, like they say, for every level, there's another devil, where basically once you reach a certain location, you're going to realize how much more there is to go. Like where I'm at now, you guys, I have by no means reached the top. I'm not this guru preaching from the top of the mountain here. I see myself as actually one of the small fish in a big pond. It's like the more you make, the more you realize how little you're making, okay, compared to some people out there. Or even the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. Okay, I'm going to say that again, you guys. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. Okay, so the more you learn and the more you understand, you're going to realize there's a whole nother world out there, you guys, as you start to understand more. Like, it was insane. I remember Bob Proctor giving a speech at one of our first company's events, and he was talking about the law of attraction and being able to do like cartwheels through the universe to manifest anything that you want. Like, that's what he said. I'm just like, that sounds pretty cool. I want to do cartwheels through the universe and manifest anything I want. Like, that'd be pretty awesome. And after his speech was done, this was in Vegas. Okay. So he goes out and he literally like plays one round of blackjack, wins like 11 grand, and then just goes up to his hotel room, like, and just passes out for the night. It's like, so this guy, like, literally, is a guru in this space. And they are teaching some things that I've kind of like come to realize over the past few years, and come from listening to these audios and kind of like taking different pieces to the puzzle pretty much and putting them together. And, I'm going to go off into this a little bit, but Dan, I don't know if you had anything more you want to kind of touch on everything as far as like, building the belief, the why and all that. Cause I like to get on tangents here. And I don't know when I'm going to stop,
Yeah, no, you can definitely do that. I think, I want to tell a story in regards to belief. And then obviously I want to kind of tighten it all up right at the bottom here and make sure that we talk about how all of the vision, all of the beliefs, all of the, the goals we have, how that's going to relate to results specifically. But we can certainly get to that. And I want to share a story. But you want to go ahead and do yours first?
Sure, for sure. So I'll just give you guys an example here, okay? So think of it like this, okay? When I was listening to T.R. Becker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, this point really is what stuck out to me on everything. He said,
which is an awesome fucking book, by the way.
Yeah, great.
I'm halfway through that the second time around.
Mm-hmm. No, it's amazing too. And you guys, if you go on YouTube as well, you can listen to like the audio version of it. So he's like saying the same stuff, like word for word. So he has it all memorized pretty much. Like his whole book, he pretty much has memorized, and he like says it on stage, which is because I'm like audio. So that's why like I'm nonstop audios. Reading is hard for me. So for those of you that hate reading, you're like me, and it's kind of a struggle to really sit down and, if you have ADD and your mind's all over the place, what I'm saying, to listen to an audio because it goes on behind the scenes. But inside of the audio, he says that we live in 4 worlds at once. Okay. We live in the physical world. Absolutely. Right. Physical things, you got the car, you got your house, you got your body and all this stuff. We also live in 3 other worlds. We live in the spiritual world. We live in the emotional world, and we live in the mental world. He says so many people, they're so focused on the physical world, and they're wondering why they have little physical results. Okay. So they're putting in like, and think of it like this too. Okay. Another book before I start talking about this. Okay. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Okay. Well, why wasn't this book titled Hustle Hard and Grow Rich? Why don't you think about that for a second? Is it because, this is my kind of philosophy on this. I mean, you guys can agree or disagree, but I think it's because there's so many hard workers out there. There's so many people that hustle hard at their 9-to-5s, hustle hard in their business, working 12 plus hours per day, 80 plus hours per week, but yet barely make enough and barely bring home enough to pay for food, groceries, car payments, house payments. They're in debt, right? Debt is massive, not only in America, but in the world in general. Okay. So the reason why it's titled Think and Grow Rich is because there's plenty of hard workers, but there's not enough hard thinkers. Okay. And there's people that are focused on the physical. They're focused on working so hard and grinding so hard in their business and grinding so hard and stuff. And don't get me wrong here. You do have to work, but if you do not have the mental down, if you don't have the emotional down, managing your own emotions, fear, worry, doubt, those things right there, and confusion, all that stuff, you're gonna literally struggle to achieve the lifestyle that you want. And if you get right with yourself spiritually too, that's how you can kind of transcend beyond the physical things and have happiness no matter what it is, whether you're making $100 a month or whether you're making $100,000 a month. It's all the same thing to you because you have this inner joy and peace. Now, I obviously understand that it's going to take time to get to that point. Like, I don't know if anyone that's on this webinar right now is enlightened. If you are, message me on Facebook. I definitely want to talk to you after this, but it's all striving to become the best version of yourself. Okay. So like he was saying, we live in 4 worlds at once. And the mental, emotional, spiritual are the beneath the ground. Okay. So if you see a tree, what's holding that tree up? The roots, right? Well, what do those roots provide the tree with? Nutrients from the ground, stability, and a solid foundation to stand on, right? You know, people, and I'm sure you guys can agree with me on this, when people join a business, some of them, you know, you hear their stories where they're just like, you know, 30K in 30 days, or, you know, 6 figures my first 90 days, or whatever it may be in their business, right? But you don't hear the backstory of what they went through. You know, when I first got started in 2012, I was broke. You know, the only experience that I had in business was, you know, taking a couple of business classes in school and sleeping in the back. You know, that's the only experience I had. I worked at a hospital scrubbing dishes, get this, for about 60 patients. And every day I was like cleaning up, throw up off their trays. And I was just going through the routine, have this little cart that we'd like go down in an elevator on like 4 floors, push out, like clean up all the tables, wipe them down, take it up to the dish room. And I literally remember every day like scrubbing dishes as fast as I could go to get done. So I was a hard worker, right? You know, I hustled hard. I was grinding. I was like trying to be the quickest in the dish room to be able to, you know, so I wasn't just slowly slothing by, you know what I'm saying? And what happened was, at the end of the day, no matter what happened, I made $7.50 an hour. The person that was working with me that made $7.50 an hour. If they didn't work that hard and they kind of piggybacked off my hard work, then guess what happened? You know, it's like we both made the same. And that frustrated me, because that's how, you know, the majority of corporate America is structured. Now you can get a raise, you know, you can move to that next level and everything. The harder you work, obviously, and the more they recognize you, but at the same time, you're capped to a certain level on your income in that. So the reason why I really loved network marketing, and really I fell in love with this whole industry in online marketing, is because you set your own cap. You create your own, you know, limit. You create the top of your jar. And like T. Harv Eker was saying in Millionaire Mind, he was saying that if you don't grow yourself, you're not going to be able, it's like having a small jar, right? You can only fit so much money in a small jar, you know, physical results of what you want. But if you grow yourself, it's like growing your jar to where you can fit more. Okay. You want to become a money magnet. Okay. Another example, it's like the thermostat in your house. Think about it like this. Okay. So is it true that if you have your thermostat set to, you know, 70 degrees in your house, okay, if outside it gets up to, you know, 120 degrees, like you live in Arizona or something, right? And then it heats up the house, will that thermostat kick in and drive that temperature back down to 70 degrees? Now, if it gets colder than 70, say it gets like 0 degrees, okay, you know, will that thermostat kick in and pump heat into your house to get it back to that temperature? Okay. So all of us, we all have our temperatures set, our thermostat set inside of our house, inside of ourselves, on how much we believe that we can make per month. So unless you believe that it's possible for you to make more, then you won't take the necessary actions. You won't take the necessary steps. If we teach you these tactics like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter marketing, email marketing, whatever it may be, but you don't have the belief that you're capable of making 20,000 a month, 30,000, 40, 50,000 or above a month, then it won't happen for you. And for me, for the longest time, I was stuck at $2,000 per month because I didn't think it was possible to make more than that. When I hit that, I was like, right, I was like, yeah, I can take vacations here and there, you know, everything. But at the same time, it's like, then the money goes, you know, as your lifestyle grows, you know, the money goes pretty much. So I realized that in order to do that, I need to grow my mindset so I can grow my glass to be able to retain more. And so I'm not just like constantly stuck at a plateau. Okay. So you guys, so you want to make sure that you're always, you know, growing your pot. You're always growing your mindset. You're focusing on the mental world, your emotions, the spiritual world. And then they say the printout is the physical. It's a printout of those 3 things. Okay. So it's like when someone looks at a tree and there's no fruits on the tree, what do they blame? Right. Well, they blame everything else. They're like, there's no fruits on the tree. They blame the weather. You know, they blame all these outside influence, but they don't blame the roots, right? They don't blame the roots that created those fruits. And most people out there, they don't blame themselves, right? When they're, you know, not achieving the results they want, they blame their upline. They say it's my upline. Or they say, oh, they just got lucky, right? They got placed on a power leg. And I remember my first company, I was placed on a profit leg, you know, and my buddy's power leg started blowing up. He had like 5,000 people on it, like Nate Robinson, you know, from the NBA and like a bunch of other pro football players. And I was like, oh my God, they got it lucky, you know? And then all of a sudden I had to catch myself and I'm just like, you know, it's me who determines my success, not my sponsor, not spillover, not any of that stuff. I have to step up and realize that I'm the one that's going to make it work. You know, if it's up to B, it's up to me. Okay. It's like the only person that's going to determine your success is the one that's looking back when you look at yourself in the mirror. Okay. That's the only person right there. So, I mean, that's just kind of what I wanted to touch on real quick, Dan.
All right, awesome. And I think that, I could tack off of pretty much all of your points, but when it comes to the development piece, you're literally never done growing. And even when I read you guys my perfect day out of here, part of that was, still listening to audio, still listening to or reading personal development books, and you're never done. You're never going to. It's not like you can create this goal when 3, 4, 5 years from now when you can just be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. You always want to continue learning, continue growing. And one of the stories that I wanted to share with you guys when it comes to deciding, when it comes to actually making that decision, is I wanted to relate that back to, I think it's in Think and Grow Rich, Nick, when Napoleon Hill talks about burning the boats.
Mm-hmm.
That's Napoleon Hill, right? Yeah.
Oh,
so I want you guys to picture this. You guys have all seen like or read about going through school, like the Spanish Armadas, and everyone jumps in the fleet and they take these boats across the oceans or across the seas, and they come up to the enemy's shoreline. And as far as making a decision goes, you want to imagine like the whole fleet, the whole armada jumps out of the boat, storming up the shores. They all come storming up the beach, and they get onto the shores, and they're about to charge the villages and the castles and the kingdom. And they turn around, and the 100 ships that the whole army just came on, all those ships are now on fire behind them. So they now have to make a decision. That decision's already been made, really, but you're at a point when you can't turn around and go back, because once you make that decision, nothing is going to stop you. So once they were on the shore, their only option was either win or die. And they chose to win, and that's what it really truly means to make a commitment, to really decide, is that once you get to that point, I'm telling you guys, nothing is going to stop you. Nothing is going to get in your way, whether it be, and something might be a temporary roadblock, whether it be a couple of, an hour, a month, a day, a week, or whatever it is, but you're going to keep going because you made that commitment, you made that decision to yourself. And one of my favorite quotes, and I use this in a lot of my videos, and I've even done some Facebook advertising, and I've kind of this quote into my words and in the copy as I was talking. But one of the great books the audio books that I've been listening to, and Nick, I'm a lot like you. I listen to a lot of audio books versus reading. I hate reading. I suck at reading. I can't focus and pay attention enough to bother with it. So I listen to a lot of audios, and one of my probably top 3 favorites right now is "You Are a Badass" by Jen Sincero. And she has this line that says, "Oftentimes we sign up to try until things become too difficult, and then we quit." And that is like so many people that first sign up to be, a network marketer, an affiliate marketer, or try any type of online business or own, home-based business. A lot of times people sign up to try, and then once they realize how hard it is, or how hard it is to be successful or to reach a goal, whatever your goal might be, they just quit because it becomes too difficult. And when I first heard that, I was like, holy shit, she just hit the nail on the head. And it's so true. But a lot of times we quit. A lot of times people quit because they don't have a lot of the focuses, a lot of the stuff that we've been talking to you about tonight, the goals, the vision, the belief, writing down your goals, having your vision board, or having your vision, having it written down, knowing what your perfect day would look like, knowing what your perfect day would feel like. What's it going to feel like to have that perfect day? And your goals, like, what are you reaching for? Are you just like praying and hoping, and I'm just climbing the ladder and I'll just figure it out as I go? Or do you have a clear, defined path that you know exactly where you're headed? So I think by having a lot of these tools that we've been talking about, you could relate it back to that Sincero, that we signed up to try, but we're going to keep trying, and we're going to fail at times. We're going to fail our way to success, but we're going to keep going. Why? Because you made the decision to go all in and figure it out, to find a way to reach your goal one way or another. So I think when you kind of funnel it all down, when you take all the information, everything that we've been talking about, and you funnel it all down, it's gonna start yielding you results. And one of the best ways to get results in your business, and this may sound kind of ass backwards or really reverse engineered, but one of the best ways for you guys to have success in your business is to focus on, and pause that for a second. So you guys, if you remember the dry erase board, I had my goals, I had my, my dollar amount, but then I had, how many leads do I need per day? How many sales do I need per day? How many specific sales do I need per week, per day, per month? And when you kind of funnel all that down, it's obviously going to be crystal clear for you. But when it comes to that process, when it comes to specifically what your goals are and you break it all down, how are you going to get there? All right. What processes are you going to physically have to do, whether it be, advertising, solo ads, making a video, posting online, using Instagram, whatever it is. But what processes are you guys going to need day after day, hour after hour, week after week in order to start getting some of the results that you have set out for yourself? So by focusing on that process and not focusing on the outcome, you're going to start seeing and achieving some of the results that you want. Because if you sat back and you only focused on the results, all into that quote from Jen Sincero about, hey, it's getting too difficult. I've tried a couple of these things. It's just not working. I'm just going to give up. But when you focus on the process and you keep focusing on the process and you keep giving away value, we talked about this on our last webinar when, sometimes people will say when it comes to video marketing, and video marketing, guys, is one of the best ways to get your message across, to give away value, to share something with somebody else. So exactly what we're doing right now on this webinar is we're using video marketing to help teach and train and coach people. We brought this up on the last webinar, is sometimes people will ask, well, okay, yeah, I'll make a video, sure. Well, how many videos do I have to make? As many as it takes. You have to make as many videos as it takes to get to that result. But I know for me, I know for Nick, and I know for a lot of other people out there, like, I enjoy the process of making videos. I enjoy the process of sitting in here and hanging out with you guys and giving value and having these great conversations. I enjoy teaching people how to do things on YouTube. I enjoy having the conversations with people on Messenger and asking questions and qualifying them. So we really get channeled in and we get focused in on the process of our business and not the outcome. Nick is really great at focusing on his Facebook ads, focusing on following up with his leads, focusing on email marketing, and focusing on a lot of the processes in his business. And obviously, now he's yielding those results. He doesn't just focus on, just making money. Making money is a result of the processes that he's set up. So I hope you guys realize that. But, Nick, I don't know if you want to, sum that up, but I think that once you have your goals defined, once you have your vision in place, once you have, your perfect day written down, once you have, all this stuff laid out for yourself, and please don't rush it. Don't rush your goals. Don't rush your vision. Don't rush your perfect day. All these things that should kind of take time. Like it took me, days and days, if not weeks, to kind of craft some of the stuff that is in my book here. And I'm constantly editing it. If you guys whip out your life's goals in 5 minutes, then, chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself. I mean, you guys need to, really put some thought into it, because those goals and that vision is going to define who you are, and it's going to define where you guys end up. And it all comes down to making that decision and focusing on the process, mapping out your game plan and focusing on the process of how you guys are going to get there.
Yeah.
So
I want to touch on a couple things too that you brought up there, man, because you had some really good points. And like Jim Rohn, I believe, was the person who said this. He says, if someone gave you $1 million, best you become a millionaire quickly so you get to keep the money. So that just basically means that, you're going to have to go through a process to grow yourself to become that millionaire that gets to keep the money, right? And if you fall in love with the process, it's like watering a tree, not for the fruits, but for the love of watching it grow. I remember one of my mentors said that a while back. He says, if you're going to grow a tree, most people do it for the fruits, right? Which is the money, right? The physical result of what they want. They want that company paid for BMW, right? They want the car, they want the house, they want that trip, whatever it may be. Okay. But if you learn, and it's a learn process, it's hard. It's kind of difficult in the start, but at the same time, if you figure out ways in which you can fall in love with the process, taking actions that you love to do, capitalizing, like we said on the last hangout, on your strengths, so for me, one of my strengths would be video work. I love making videos. So it's like when I was making videos in the start, I fell in love with the process. I didn't get results for a whole year. I could have gotten results sooner if I would have dropped my ego, relinquished my pride, and just learned from the people who had what I wanted. But I was like, nope, I'm going to be the cool dude that does it all on his own. And, I would rather be, like TR Reckers says, I would rather be really like crazy and really weird and rich than really cool and really broke. So I'm just like, okay, well, I better just humble myself and realize that I don't know anything and learn from other people. But for that whole year, that process right there, I loved it. I just had fun doing it. I didn't receive any signups my first year making videos. I just kept putting them out there. Now, that's not saying that it's going to take you that long. If you humble yourself and you learn how to follow proven strategies, like we talk about, in our trainings, and also, if you want to learn how to like rank YouTube videos, I got trainings on that. That I'm not going to go over on this, but at the same time, you guys, you fall in love with that process. You're just, becoming that person along the way. Then you're really going to, enjoy those results when they do come, because most people, like, they set a goal for that car, right? And they're just like, that's their motivation. And if that's your motivation, that's okay. I'm not downing that. But here's what you're going to find. Once you get that, your motivation will change. For me in the start, it was the BMW, right? When I was in VMA, I was just like, I want that BMW. I want to be driving that. Why? Then I had to ask myself, what is that gonna give me that I don't have now? So this is a question that you guys really want to ask yourself as you're defining your goals. You're getting crystal clear on what you want. If it's something physical, really ask yourself, what is that going to give me that I don't have now? And if that's, for me, is just like, well, driving the car, that's going to give me, this good feeling of, just having a nicer car. It's going to get me from point A to point B, a little bit better without having to worry about my car breaking down and everything. Okay, so what's that going to give me that I don't have now? Security, peace of mind, right? For one of them, it's recognition. That's why most people do the things that they want to do. That's why they want to speak on stage. They want recognition. They want their voice to be heard and all this stuff. So as you start asking yourself these questions, you get deep down to the source of why you're doing it. And Tony Robbins talks about that too. And same with, what was his name? Simon Sinek. Okay. He wrote, wasn't The Power of Now. That was Eckhart Tolle. What was the name of his book? I'm having a brain fart here. Why?
Simon?
Start with why. Yeah, start with why. The golden circle, pretty much.
The golden circle, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like why, how, what? See, most people are focusing on like what they're selling and how to sell it. And they're focusing on like what their goal is and how to get to the goal. It's like, what road am I going to take? What freeway? What exit am I going to get on? Like what food stops are we going to get? For me, it's like I started like that. So it was frustrating because when someone was preaching to me that I had to get this why down, have a why that'll make you cry, all this stuff, I was like, oh, it's so corny, man. It's so Tony Robbins, that guy's a scam or whatever. I'm just like, I didn't believe it at first. But then as I started to actually do it, there's one thing in saying, oh, I already know that, right? Well, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. Okay. So if you know that, well, here's the thing. Are you doing it? What you don't do, you don't know. And if you're not willing to take action on it and actually apply it, then you don't really know it. See, I have a lot of people out there that I know that are masters of like politics, masters of the universe. They know everything about like how the universe started and know everything about religion, specific religions and all this stuff. And in reality, it's like, those are the people that know the least because, when you start realizing stuff, you guys, about whether it be like money, physical fitness, like I was saying, you start to learn from other people and you start to realize that there's a whole nother possibility in the world out there. So when we're saying that, like we're working an hour per 2 per day in our business. Here's the thing. It didn't start out that way. Now we can do that, you guys, because we've got our mindset to believe that it's possible to achieve results while working only an hour per 2. See, I didn't believe it in the start. So what do I go back to? The source, belief. So believing that something's possible, because what you believe determines what you make true. Okay. I'm going to say that again. What you believe determines what you make true. And it's usually the simplest little sayings, little quotes, little phrases like that are most profound. When I heard that for the first time, I was like, it makes so much sense. Because if someone believes that the only way that you can make money is working for someone else, that's going to be their reality. But if someone believes that you can work an hour per day and become a millionaire, that will become their reality. You know, so it's usually those who believe they can and those who believe they can't are both usually right. Okay. So what do you want? What's your lifestyle that you want to live? For me, it was, I want to be able to walk on the beach, you know, with my girlfriend, hearing the waves crash on the shore, you know, the breeze blowing through the palm trees. You know, I'm just relaxing and I'm feeling like my phone vibrate, and I pull it out and I see new commission notifications and cha-chings and all these sales coming in on my phone, and checking it and just feeling an overwhelming sense of joy. And when I would close my eyes, that's what I would picture. I wasn't closing my eyes and thinking, shoot, people are quitting my business this month. I did sometimes, but then I had to train myself to go from doubt to faith, right? Doubt and belief, right? You have these two parallel sides right here, okay? So many people, their doubt is through the roof and their belief, their faith is not through the roof. So a big thing is to feed your faith and belief and starve your doubt. Okay, there's an old story that I love. There's a Native American man with his son, and he's telling him this story. He says, there's two wolves that live inside of your head, and they're both at a fight to the death. Okay, one wolf is very evil, greedy, cynical, pessimistic, negative, fearful, doubtful, and, you know, has a lot of hate in its heart. The other one is very good, optimistic, has a strong amount of belief, only wants the best for you and only wants to see you prosper. He says they're to fight to the death. And so the little boy asks his grandpa, he says, which one wins? Which one survives? And the old man responds, the one that you feed. Okay, so I think that's a very powerful lesson there, because most people, they're feeding their doubt, they're feeding into the negative stuff that is building their doubt and diminishing their belief in their faith. And what happens is, you know, a couple months go by, they get more doubtful. No one's joining their business. They're generating no leads, right? They have no sales. They're not getting that physical result. They're not in love with the process anymore. They're just completely burnt out. And then once someone's burnt out to that point where they're just like, they throw in the towel and they quit, they blame the industry. They say network marketing doesn't work. You know, real estate doesn't work. You know, all this online stuff is crap. It's bogus. Only the people at the top make all the money. Then they make all these excuses outside of themselves of why they were either too lazy, they didn't get their mind in the right place, you know, they didn't make that decision, they didn't burn the boats, they didn't do whatever it took. And then, you know, because it's easy to blame someone else, you know, it's easy to point your fingers at other people and say it was their fault, but it takes true courage and true faith and true belief and everything to point your fingers at yourself and say, it was me, you guys. Okay. So I know that this is kind of all over the place here. So I want to wrap it. And for me, like when I talk and everything, I'll go off on tangents and stories and stuff, because that's the way my mind, like my mind's not really like linear. It just kind of goes all over the place now. And so I want you guys to really understand it. For those of you that need that step-by-step process on everything, the first thing that you want to do is just get crystal clear. So like Dan said, when he wrote down his perfect day, that's what I did a while ago. I'm not going to read mine to you because mine's like the exact same as Dan's. You know, it's pretty much the same thing. And you know, yeah.
Sorry, I do got to cut you off for 1 second here. So obviously in this webinar, we're talking about making the decision, and, you know, with that, and we focus on the process, you know, just by, you know, you had said your vision, right? You're walking on the beach, you feel your phone vibrate, law of attraction, right? So we're talking about positive things here. And when you are positive, you talk about positive things, you give value, you bring certain things into your life. So my phone just vibrated, right? So for those that can see it, you guys see today,
it's a little
that
blurry.
Just happened.
But it looks like, yeah, another 4-figure day for you, boss.
$3,700. $3,700 while I'm on a fucking webinar just came into my business. So you guys tell me, I made the decision. You guys can make the decision. And just by applying literally some of the things that we're talking about and putting them into action, creating your goals and your vision, and defining who you are, and making these decisions, you guys can make anything happen. Anything you want to do in this life, you can make happen, but just decide. Just fucking decide and make a decision to go for it. Sorry, dude.
No,
I had to share that. That was pretty cool.
No, that was awesome, man. Congrats for that. See, that's the coolest thing ever. It's just like, when you're putting that effort, you're putting that work, and you see those, notifications come and everything. It's like, it's a booster of motivation. It's like, reminded me, when I was sitting in college one day, and it's just like, I'm sitting there, not paying attention to the teacher whatsoever, just sleeping. I was like sat in the front row. So I was like kind of drooling on myself a little bit as I'm falling asleep. Like, I had to catch myself, as you like sleep on a desk in class, your hands on your head, and it like slips off. Like, I was doing that. And all of a sudden I felt my phone buzz and vibrate, and I pull it out, and I got a text message from someone. He's like, "Hey, is this Nick Anderson?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? Who's this?" I thought it was just wrong number or something, because they weren't saved in my phone. He's like, "Hey, it's Andy. I'm over in New York." And I'm over in Idaho. I'm just like, "Okay, what can I help you with, man?" He's like, "Hey, I just saw your video on YouTube. I'm ready to get started. Send me your link." And I'm just like, "Wait, what? You mean I don't have to hop on a Skype call? You mean I don't have to hop on a three-way call with you in my upline? You mean you're just ready to get started?" I didn't say that to him. This is what I was thinking. But I was like, "Awesome, man." And I just send my link. Like 5 minutes later, I see he signs up. I get a notification. And then as I get home, I saw he signed up like 2 people. A couple days later, he signed up like 5 or 10 people or everything. And it's just like, wait a second, I haven't even talked to this guy on the phone. I don't even know what he looks like. And all of a sudden, he's in my business, and he's about like 10 people in within a day. I'm just like, this is real, man. But here's the thing. I saw it happening first. So when I would close my eyes at night, I would picture myself, and I would literally like get this image in my mind, you guys, as if it was real. So I would believe what I wanted to be true as if it was real. Okay. And it was just nonstop, just building that belief level. And then it gets to the point where it happens. Like, here's a crazy example, you guys. This is pretty weird. And some people, I don't believe in coincidences, but at the same time, what I realize is that whenever I travel someplace and I go in a new location, I usually tend to feel a lot better, just because it's new experiences and everything. So for example, if I'm like traveling, going to Hawaii, of course, I'm probably going to feel a little bit better while I'm on that beach for a variety of different reasons. Like, some people might say energetically, like walking barefoot on the beach is better for you. Other people are like, you're just in Hawaii, dude. So at the same time, it's like when you're feeling better, when I'm on these like little trips and stuff, my business starts to explode. So I realized that I could take that same feeling when I'm on a trip and vacation when I was first starting out. I was like, I could just apply that to my day-to-day grind. I could just apply that to my day-to-day effort and feel good 24/7. And I'll start seeing, 4-figure days like Dan here and everything, and have those start coming in and everything. Once I started doing that and believing that it was possible, then it started to happen, you guys. But it wasn't until I made that decision, made that belief, and I got crystal clear on what that income goal was going to give me, then I was able to visualize. A lot of people, they're like, well, I don't really know what I want. I don't really know how much money I want to make. Like, if I were to hop on a call with you privately right now, for those of you that are listening, I say, okay, like, what's your income goal per month? 1 month you'll say, oh, well, I just want to make $2,000 per month. The next month you'll say, I want to make $10,000 per month. The next one you're like, I just want to make $5,000 per month. Okay, so you're always changing, you're always shifting, right? So if you have a chief aim, is what Kevin Trudeau calls, he says a chief aim of what you want, and that's like your main goal, the one that would be you're striving for, that you're going to the top of the mountain, right? You have that chief aim and you have that belief that it's possible. You're crystal clear on what you want, and then going after it is just going to take a certain few things here and there. Okay, so once you're crystal clear, right, you feed your faith and you starve your doubt. That example of the 2 wolves, you guys. Okay, and then there's another thing. It's called the training balance scale. Now I'm just going to touch on this really quick. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, no matter how much you know, and how much you learn, you're going to realize how little that you know. Okay, so there's a training balance scale. Basically, think of it like a teeter-totter. Okay, where you have this thing in the middle that's like determining which side will win. Okay, whatever. So they say that less than 10% is the how, it's the actions, it's the results, right? It's what's above the ground, the top tip of the iceberg. Okay, the 90+% is the why, the belief, the attitude, right? If you focus on that 90%, while taking action at the same time. See, people get this confused when we talk about, because we transition back and forth between action and the belief and why, right? People get this confused. They think that, oh, well, I just need to be in belief mode, then I'm in action mode. It's simultaneous, okay, all of ACE. So basically what you're doing is you're setting out a routine for yourself every day where you're building your belief, you're building your faith, and you're taking action with positive expectancy that the actions you're taking will yield you a result. I'll say that again, you guys. Okay, so you're taking actions with positive expectancy that your actions will yield you a result. Most people take actions without that positive expectancy, and they're hoping for a result. And that's why people go year after year after year after year in their companies not getting any results. That's why you hear some people, they'll be like, well, I've been with this company for 5 years, I barely made a penny. And then other people are like, well, I've been this for a year and I hit 6 figures, right? So what's the difference between them? Like I was saying earlier, okay, mindset is the 90%. You know, the actions, how hard they're working on their business. And that question I asked you guys first, C, letter C, is like 10%, which is crazy. But at the same time, you got to have both, right? You can't have one or the other. So in your daily routine, you simply set out times a day to do reading. If you're like ADD, like me, you can't read for an hour at a time. Read 10 pages to start out. Read a page to start out. That's what I started with. I was like, well, I read a page, then my mind would go off on some different like thing. And I was like, okay, I got to do something else, whatever. And I'd shuffle to something else, right? I was constantly like a squirrel, right? Jumping from one idea to the next, one thing to the next. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to build up that habit, an hour at a time. Then I would sit out maybe 30 minutes where I would like, you know, brush my teeth and listen to an audio. So I would habit stack. Okay. Habit stacking is what Chris Records calls it, right? Where you're maximizing your time. Because like Jim Rohn says, you know, you can always get more money, but you can't get more time. If you can figure out how to maximize your time with everything that you're putting in per day into your business, then that's how you'll be able to make over 10 grand per month working only an hour or 2 per day. Like people think that when they're working like 10 hours per day at their job, they're working 10 hours per day. The reality is they're mostly scrolling through their Facebook feed like 7-8 hours, you know, and just screwing around on social media, just looking at like memes, right? They're not actually working. So when we say work, you guys, we're actually working. It's not like we're just scrolling through Facebook and all this stuff. Like we're putting together stuff that's actually going to generate us a result. So our actions are more calculated. But in order to figure out, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense, right? But which actions are the most calculated? You have to have that 90% figured out. Because if you do take those actions that are calculated and that will yield you the results, if they don't yield you results in a week, then you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get doubtful. You're going to start blaming, you know, if you don't work on that inner game. Okay. So the inner game is really the foundation. Like if the Empire State Building, right? How was it built? Well, it was built by digging a deep ass foundation so it could hold the whole fucking building up, right? It's like it hold that much concrete. You know, if someone doesn't build the foundation, then what happens? It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, right? It's like it'll sink on one side, and you know, if it's not a solid enough foundation, it'll crash and it'll crumble. It's like trees that grow too quick, right? How many people do you see in a company that are like trees that grow too quick? They make 20, 30 grand a month, you know, very fast. They lose their income. They can't rebuild it. And then these top leaders that were making videos that were like, yeah, I'm a top leader with this company, all this stuff. And then you never see them in the industry anymore. It's like they just disappear. It's like, what happened? It's like it was those trees that just grew quickly, man. The wind blew them over, right? They haven't built their foundation. So for those of you that are struggling right now, I want you to understand that you're just building your roots. That's all that it is. And whether it takes you 6 months to hit your goals or 6 years, it's going to happen regardless because you've fallen in love with the process.
I want to kind of cap all that off with a very famous quote from, hopefully you've heard of this guy. His name is Henry Ford. And you've probably driven one of his cars. And he has a very famous quote, and you guys can write this down, okay? So have a pen ready, have some paper ready, write this down because it stands incredibly true. And he says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. So think about that for a second. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can, it's all about your belief. It's all about making that decision and having your belief. So if you believe that you can, then you're going to make it happen. If you convince yourself or if you have doubt, and trust me, I mean, we can have doubts. I still have, you know, doubts, and I wouldn't say, you know, negative thoughts, but I still myself drifting. But the point is, don't drift too far. Reel yourself back in. So if you're thinking that you can't, find a way that you can. And by making that decision, you're going to find a way. You're going to be able to make it happen. So, you know, very good quote there. And it's often, you know, sometimes we gotta reflect back and we gotta think about some of these real basic things. So, I think we can start the process of getting this wrapped up. I know for me, Nick, I just want to personally thank you, because if I hadn't stumbled across you back in the springtime, I think it was probably back in about March or April, staggering across some of your YouTube videos when I was digging into attraction marketing, I wouldn't have found you. And honestly, I wouldn't have made that $3,700 today that I just showed you. So appreciate you for everything that you do. And, I just want to say thanks. And I know literally in 3 months, we're going to be hanging out in Hawaii.
Looking forward to that.
I don't
man.
think you and I will go for.
That'll be a blast.
I don't think you and I will go for a stroll on the beach together and feel your phone vibrate. But you know,
watch the sunset, and you could feed me a strawberry sundae.
Although I think we did intend on having a beer or 6 or 18 in Las Vegas, and I know we never really made it because I got sick or roofied when I went to the old Vegas. That was horrible. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
But
man.
I think at this point, I mean, I want to open it up to the group, and we got a lot of great people on here, some really cool comments in there. You guys have been fired up and hung with us. We still got we got a lot of viewers on here. So if you guys have any questions in regards to just processes, taking action, beliefs, vision, deciding, any of the stuff that we talked about tonight, please, by all means, throw your questions into the chat box. And, you guys got us here for a few more minutes. We'll definitely do what we got to do. All right, Mark, what are you saying? Repost this. The connection keeps going. Amen to both. Okay. Yeah, no, hey, listen, thanks, man. Mark, what's up, dude? Really appreciate that feedback. Nick, you can see the comments, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah. So, Mark, obviously really just thanking us for doing this. And yes, we will definitely going to repost this. This is going to be, if I don't get to it tonight, it's actually getting pretty late for me over on East Coast time. We're definitely going to repost this. It's actually going to be probably on my YouTube channel and probably on Nick's, but just keep an eye out for that. If you guys haven't seen my YouTube channel, you guys can obviously subscribe to that. And hopefully you've already subscribed to Nick's YouTube channel as well. But we'll definitely have this, I would say, within a minimum or maximum of 24 hours. We'll have this webinar on there so you guys can go back and watch it.
And for those of you, I want to throw something in there too. For those of you that are kind of wondering, like, okay, how can you hop on these webinars? Like, obviously we record them, but how can you hop on them live down the road? Make sure to join the Lifestylepreneurs group page, because you'll be able to register for these webinars that we do every Thursday. And at the same time too, you guys are going to realize that, like, when you're hopping on these, you're going to get more nuggets on each one. Like this one, we wanted to focus mostly on mindset, right? Because mindset's the most important thing. But I know a lot of you are still wondering, okay, like, I understand that it's 90% of success, right? But the 10% of action, it's like, I still need to figure out what to do. So you're still not spinning our wheels. On the next webinar that we're going to be doing next week, we're going to be going into detail on like the actions that you need to take and the daily routine that you need to have in order to become successful. So make sure to keep posted on the link to register for that next week, because we definitely want to pack it, you guys, and really give you value. So if you have anything that you want us to cover, drop them in the comment box. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it, because obviously, I mean, like, whatever questions you guys have, we'll answer them. Like, we're open books here.
Dustin, I know obviously you want to talk about paid traffic. Honestly, dude, that's probably next week's webinar. We're going to get into more of that. We're going to talk more about some of the tactics in the business, when it comes to this. And we're going to get into some of the finite details, some of the stuff that you can physically take action on, like traffic. This one here is a little bit more about mindset, but if you want, I mean, obviously you can just reach out after this is over. You can reach out to me or reach out to Nick specifically, one of the two of us, and we can certainly talk to you about traffic. But I want to keep this focused on, focused on mindset and focused on making sure that we have our heads right to attack our businesses. And Martha, can it be a bit earlier? Honestly, I mean, Nick and I, when we were back in Vegas a few weeks ago, we kind of committed to having these weekly webinars and really just giving you guys value. And we want to do this every week. So like Nick said, we're going to choose a different topic every week, and just, so over the course of a few months, we're just going to try to give you guys as much value as humanly possible, so you guys can just take your business and fucking skyrocket as best you can. And pardon the swearing, but I really like swearing. So, But I think we chose 9 because most people at that point, 9 o'clock East Coast time, most people are out of work on this end. And then when you scale it over to, let's say, like California, it's 6 o'clock their time, so they're just getting out of work. If you guys want to try a different time, we can try a different time. But I mean, I think this time slot for me works pretty good.
Yeah,
But, if you guys,
I think it's pretty solid because most people get off work, especially like Eastern time. It is a little late, like we understand that, but since it's being recorded too, I mean, you can catch the majority of the recording. So what I've generally found like over the years is like having it 7 o'clock Mountain, 9 Eastern is like generally the best time stuff. So,
all right. So Brenton, you're asking good books and audiobooks. I'm just gonna list off specifically what I have in my iBooks right now, and I'll share that with you guys. Oops, shit, sorry, I have that playing by accident. So specifically, I have Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. I have The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I also have The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, which is an awesome one. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then Go Pro, 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional by Eric Worre. So that's specifically what I've been listening to over the last couple of months. And I'm sure between Nick and I, we could give you a list of 100 books, but I think those are kind of, for me, those are kind of like the core when it comes to a lot of mindset and a lot of just basic principles. When it comes to developing yourself. Nick, I don't know if you want to add a couple of books in there too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we just scratched the scratch of the surface, like just barely hit the tip of the iceberg here with how much we could really go over. I mean, we've been on here for like an hour and 45 minutes and how much we've talked about already. You guys, there's so many more concepts and ideas that you can get. And what I usually do, it's like if I'm going to buy a book, okay, so what I would do is I would think of a great book, right? Think and Grow Rich. I type that in on Amazon and I look at the recommended books, like people who bought this also bought this. And then I would just look at buy based on reviews. On Amazon, you could see the reviews of like, oh, this is an amazing book, all 5 stars, right? I'm just going to get that book and read it because you can gain some info from it. So, I mean, like you say, Science of Getting Rich, that's good. A good app that you guys, actually real quick to another one, The Magic of Thinking Big. That's a really good mindset type one. And it's like one. Yeah, it's amazing. And an app that you guys can get on your phone for like iPhone or Android, it's Club Prosperity. And basically you have, let me see here, ebooks. So you have all these ebooks right here. I'll just read some of them. The Power of Gratitude, The Master Key System, Secrets of the Ages, The Path to Prosperity, The Science of Getting Rich is on there. See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. Like a lot of great books and audiobooks. So if you guys download that, if you like reading on your phone, you could do it. I would recommend getting the physical book because it's easier on your eyes. Like I've noticed my eyesight's kind of dwindled because I'm always staring at my phone if I'm like reading something and everything. So physical books are good, as well as like when you're taking notes on it, write it out. Blue ink. Say something. There's a power behind like using blue ink too. So
copy that. Yeah, I think the G2 is the official pen. I get no endorsements off of that, by the way. So guys, any other Linda, I hope you saw my comment. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker is the author of that book. And Dustin, you asked where will the webinars be reposted? They'll be on my YouTube channel. How to grow my social. All right, so Victoria, I think how to grow your social media account. Definitely, if you want to reach out to one of us individually, we can probably talk more about that, or we're going to be covering some of those tactics and some of those specifics on future webinars.
And we've also made videos teaching specifics on how to do that. And inside of the Lifestylepreneurs group page, if you just check out the pinned post, you'll literally see videos on how you do Facebook advertising, Instagram, YouTube, ranking videos. So you pick one social media strategy that you really want to grow, and you apply this mindset that we've taught you throughout this whole webinar into that strategy, and you stay super consistent with it, following those strategies that we teach you in those videos that we made, then, you know, your results will start to grow. So let's see here. Okay, sweet. I want to give one example, you guys, too, because, you know, understanding this stuff is really key. Not just having a mental understanding, but having a physical understanding as well, and an emotional understanding of all of it. See, most people they just understand it cognitively. So they're like, yeah, it makes sense. I got to read books and all this stuff, right? But they don't have that physical understanding to where they're actually doing it, which is actually really important. Like, that's where you manifest stuff. But at the same time, it's like believing that it's possible to fly, you know, before you actually fly. Like, no, I'm not talking about just like me, just Superman. And, you know, I'm talking about like planes, you know, like the Wright brothers, when they were starting out, you know, they had this belief, they had this dream that they were going to fly. So they started taking the action in order to understand how to kind of re-engineer the plane, right? So it's like, as they started to develop, they finally flew. Now, airplanes nowadays, I mean, you got some of the quickest airplanes out there. So think of your business as like you're taking off in an airplane, right? So you already have that belief, right? It's just kind of like common knowledge that it's possible to fly, right? Just like it's common knowledge now that it's possible to make money online. Okay, it's not theory, right? It's not a myth anymore. It's so possible. There's 14-year-old girls making review videos of the best dolls on YouTube, making like 6 figures per month. It's like, there's people out there that are doing the most ridiculous stuff, and they're just like making good money online and everything. So it's just like thinking that it's not possible to make $5,000 per month in network marketing online is ridiculous, you guys. So it's like, you have that belief. Okay, so you're in the airplane. As you're starting to take off, you got the runway, right? So when you're taking off, you don't give it, you know, 20%. You decide to go all in. You throw down the throttle and you go 120%, okay? And as you're doing that, you're speeding up. Eventually you lift off, you take off the ground. You know, that's when you launched your business. That's when you invested, okay? That's when you first started. Now, people think that as soon as they took off the runway, then it's sunshine and rainbows, right? And then checks are going to start coming in, you know, as soon as they start working, there are no setbacks whatsoever. Well, if you've ever flown a plane before, you know how freaky it is, right? I mean, I still get freaked out every time I like flying a plane. My palms are sweaty. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I really hope I'm going to make it this one. I'm just like, as we're going up, like the plane's freaking shaking. You have to go through the clouds. You go through turbulence when you're first going up. You're just in a giant chunk of metal, and you're still wondering, like, how is this much weight flying through the air? That's what I'm thinking. Like, how are they really doing this right now? We don't know. We got like, some of us do, you know, that are more like, you know, they understand how planes work, but most of us, we just like trust that it works, right? But you're going through that turbulence in your business, okay? And as you get up, you know, to a cruising altitude, then they come on the loudspeaker and they say, okay, we're officially at our cruising altitude, seatbelts sign comes off, you're free to move about the cabin, use the restroom, we're going to be giving you drinks and your beer and liquor in a little bit, whatever it may be, okay? And so that's just like in your business, right? When you start out, you have that turbulence, you have that tough times, that rough start, you know, where you're going through that hard phase, but just realize that it will pass. You know, what really deters people, and the reason why they crash is because they don't see an end to that struggle. They don't see an end to it. You know, they think that that's just all that it is. So they're just like, screw this. And then they just like throw in the towel and their plane crashes and their business explodes. So it's like, you guys, the strategies are great. They're amazing, but having that mindset is important. Okay. And on the next webinar, we're going to be going over all strategies. Okay. So just make sure to register for that. If you want more training, everything, subscribe to Dan's YouTube, go through his videos. You guys will see a bunch of strategies, tactics, as well as my channel, our social medias, and just model after what we're doing, you guys, because we're not doing this to, like, when we share results and stuff, we're not doing it to brag. We really don't care. We're just doing it to show you what's possible and that you can do it too, and the applicable methods and strategies and mindset that you need to take to make it possible for you. Okay, so Dan, do you have anything you want to add on that, man? Before I go off on tangents again.
Yes, you're like the tangent dude. No, just the last example you gave with the plane. I mean, you know, once you guys get your business, once that starts to take off, Eric Worre talks about a very specific thing when it comes to that plane story. And, you know, what you guys got to do with your business is you got to lead from the front. You know, you can't sit back and be like, once you get your business up and running, sit back and like sip pina coladas and expect everybody else to do all the work and, you know, bring home the bank and bring home the bacon for you. You know, you guys got to lead by example. You got to lead from the front. You got to continue to give value, continue to help people, continue to teach. And that's how you're going to continue to scale your business. And to, again, circle it back to, you know, a quote that we talked about earlier from Zig Ziglar, you'll get you guys can have anything you want in this life if you help enough people get what they want. And that stands so true. And, if you guys just think about it, that's what Nick and I have been doing here with you guys. And that's what we do on our YouTube channel, just trying to give as much value away as we possibly can. And if you guys incorporate that into your own business and start giving away value, on a daily, weekly basis, you guys are going to, you'll be amazed at some of the results that you guys start seeing. If you guys need help with that, reach out to us, send us a message. I know he's not on here. He really wanted to be on here, but I want to give a super big shout out to, Michelle, it is all about the value. I want to give a big shout out to Matt Verities, because Matt, I hope I said your name right if you go back and watch this, but Matt upgraded in our primary business yesterday. He took that first step. So we're going to see him in Hawaii. He's going to be able to come out there, hang out with us, and learn and grow and build his business. And but not only that too, he's also trying to grow as a person, and he's trying to grow and come out of his shell a little bit. And, he's been texting me back and forth, pitching ideas to me. And he even recorded his first video of him, walking and talking to the camera, and he sent that to me. So I just want to give a shout out and props to him for taking his business to the next level, stretching outside of his comfort zone, and, doing whatever it takes to make it happen. He made that decision, and he's starting to work for it. So awesome job, brother. And I guess at this point, if nobody has any other questions, we'll get this wrapped up, and we'll see you guys next week on the next webinar. And I think, Nick mentioned earlier that when we have these webinars, to make sure that you guys register for it. I'm pretty sure that if you register through the Webinars on Air link, you put your name and your email in there, you should get a confirmation email. Once the video goes live, I'm pretty sure it's going to send you an email with the link to the video. Because I know with Online Sales Pro, whenever Vince does his webinars and we register, I always get a link anytime that video is ready to rewatch. So I think with Webinars on Air, it's going to do that. If it doesn't, either way, it's still going to be on my YouTube channel, so you guys can go check that out.
Sweet. So yeah. That being said, you guys just make sure to jump on the next one, and we'll see you on there. We'll go over a lot of good information. And if you have a team, I understand that like most of the people watching this, they're in different companies. A lot of you guys, are obviously in Digital Altitude and Online Sales Pro with us. And, that's awesome, because the strategies that we're going to teach on the next webinar are going to be specific towards that. But at the same time, they can be applied towards other businesses too. So for those of you that are on other companies, teams, whatever it may be, feel free to invite your business partners, okay? Because I wish I would have learned this stuff that we're going to be teaching you guys when I was first starting out. I wish I would have had this access to this information.
If there's anything that we can do, I mean, part of these webinars, and part of what we're one of the reasons why we're having these webinars for you guys is really just to kind of shorten that learning curve, and so you guys can get to taking action and continue to focus on the process. So you guys can have more results. Obviously, again, focusing on the process, but you guys will get results quicker than if you guys didn't have access to all of this information. So Nick, if you don't have anything else, I guess we will sign off, and we will see you guys hopefully next week on the next webinar.
Definitely. Yeah, throw this at the end. Results aren't typical, so don't be typical, you guys. We're going to teach you how to rise above and go beast mode in your business, okay? So just stay tuned, stay plugged in, and we look forward to melting your face on the next one as well.
Yes, faces will be melted off. All right, guys, appreciate all the comments, appreciate all the feedback. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.